Well, hello everyone. My name is Zachary O'Shea, and this is Box of Teeth. I have a nice horror-themed monster for Dungeons & Dragons for all of you right now. Here in the back half of July, we're covering an antagonist that you can use for a horror-themed Dungeons & Dragons game, along with their minions, and that antagonist is the Vespidai. She's a riff off of the classic movie monster, The Fly, except it's more wasp-themed, thus the name Vespidai. She was an artificer, and she and her lover were working on waystone magic to make teleportation a commonplace thing that every class of citizen could use, not just the rich and powerful. Teleportation magic is controlled by the Planar Guild in this idea, and their oligarchs all their own. Whether because of an unexpected accident or deliberate sabotage, she was mixed with a wasp during one of the experiments and came out as some sort of lumpy abomination of flesh and chitin and the like, who couldn't survive on her own unless she was kept in a vat of electrified goo. Her lover built an exoskeleton that she can use, and now the Vespidai is out there getting revenge on the Planers Guild that she figures ruined her life and her lover's life as well, and damn the consequences and all the casualties that she's going to cause. Today's monster really goes into scientific horror with a little bit of planar horror on top of it, and that is the Terrorantula. Step 2, infiltration. If I regret any of my recent actions, my darling, it is butchering those poor face spiders. They have a moat of intelligence behind those 8 eyes that I would say is greater even than a common child. They did not understand the pain that I inflicted upon them to mold them into something better, to mold them to my glorious purpose. Yet they now revel in their new forms and the power that it gives them. Their ability to move between planes makes them ideal for stalking and killing the fools of the Planers Guild. I hollowed out their thoraxes and made it bays for sawfly swarms. In addition, the real master stroke is the pain pins that I lined their backs with. The wizards of the Planers Guild won't know what hit them, and every one of their feeble spells will falter when they try to cast them. As large as a horse, a Terrorantula is a twisted abomination of both chitin and black iron. It still has a general phase spider look to it, the chassis that it has, but there are many of those black plates along its body with bubbling lines of a galvanically charged goo framing said plates. The spider's eyes have been replaced with one large ocular lens, and its fangs with a pneumatic pair of fangs instead that inject some of that life-sustaining goo directly into its victims. Its thorax is covered with thousands of rune-etched needles, each enchanted to disrupt a spellcaster's mind. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at a Terrorantula statistics for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. A Terrorantula is a challenge rating 5 large construct that is unaligned. It has an okay armor class, a lot of hit points, it has damage resistance to lightning, and then weapon damage that is not magical or adamantine. It's immune to poison, and has condition immunities you would expect a construct to have. It does have dark vision and tremor sense, and it can understand common and draconic, but cannot speak. As it does come from a phase spider, ability-wise it does have ethereal jaunt and spider climb. In addition, it has fear that it can cast 3 times per day, and a sawfly dispenser because it houses swarms within it. Again, as a dungeon master, you get to decide how many swarms are inside, and there's some rules for how you dispense them. Attack-wise, it's pretty basic. It has a bite attack that does a decent amount of piercing damage and a little bit of lightning damage, and then it has a cone AoE spray, which is a recharge ability. It does a little bit of piercing damage with that, but the big issue there for your characters is that they have these needles in them and they attempt to cast a spell. They have to succeed on a concentration save to do so, and if they already are concentrating on spells, whenever they have to make a concentration save, they are at disadvantage, and this lasts until they actually take their full action to remove all of the needles. The Terrorantula is really meant to be used with the sawflies that I covered yesterday. Basically, the Terrorantula gets into an area with its ethereal jaunt. It comes back into the material plane. It starts spitting out swarms of chewing sawfly constructs and then is there to defend them. And it also helps disrupt spell casting around it. But I'd love to hear how you would use them in your own campaign down in the comments below. As always, you can find this monster and hundreds of other horror-themed monsters, all for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. They're all perfectly free at boxofteeth.blogspot.com. If you're more interested in the non-Dungeons & Dragons horror-related role-playing stuff that I have, or the horror fiction that I write, that includes Circuit Breakers, which is now out on Kindavella. Episode 5 is out as well. 6 and 7 will drop this weekend. You can always go to www.zacharyoshea.com. As always, I really do appreciate your time and your attention, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.